All right, I know that I made videos about this in the past, but I'm pretty sure it's one of the videos that got deleted when I was gonna leave YouTube, but here I am, still here. So I wanted to put this video out today, and I wanted to talk about retinols and chemical exfoliants and chemical peels and lasers and all of that stuff in the modern skincare world, the modern anti-aging skincare world. Why I don't use them and why I never will, okay? And why I've never been interested in them, all right? The only people that fall for this are the people that don't understand physiology and biology and how our cells work, okay? And dermatologists and estheticians that have been so programmed and brainwashed that they have forgotten their basic physiology, cellular biology, cellular physiology education, okay? It's the only excuse that they have is that they have forgotten what they learned about cellular physiology, okay? So I'm just going to share with you the way I see it based on what I know about skin cells. Okay. So when you're using retinols and chemical exfoliants and you're burning your skin and you're doing, this aggressive stuff to your skin that causes burns, okay? Chemical peels and lasers are causing a burn. They call it a controlled burn. Do you think your body gives a shit? It's a burn. And what that does is it stresses your cells out. It's a threat to your body. It triggers the immune response and it triggers the healing response, okay? Now, retinols are doing this every single day. It's creating levels of inflammation in your body chronically. And the only reason you adapt to it is because that's what we do. We adapt to stress. Humans adapt to stress. It's what we do. All right. So that you no longer are aware of the stress that is happening because your body has elevated itself to be able to handle that stress better. Okay. So it is literally gone from its normal everyday functioning, which is homeostasis, into this hyper response of, oh my God, you're trying to hurt me. And now I have to stay here. I have to function at this level all the time. Did you really think that the adaptation phase and after you've adapted that your body goes back down here when you're putting these things on your skin that are causing your skin to be chronically inflamed? Do you think that just stops? Do you think it just goes away? Okay. It's like if you rub your skin over and over and over again and you get a wound, right? What happens if you keep doing it? Your body creates a callus, okay? You don't end up with normal skin. You end up with a callus because your body has to protect itself from that constant irritation, which is why you don't want to be exfoliating your skin every day aggressively. I use a gentle washcloth every day. I keep it at the level that is very, very, very low, so I'm not creating any kind of inflammation on my skin. I'm not triggering my body to go, oh my God, what are you doing to me? I'm just keeping it very, very low to keep that loose stuff from sticking around too long, okay? Because my turnover is really slow because I'm 57, okay? But when you're using these chemical exfoliants and retinols and things of that nature, it keeps the cells turning over at a rate that is not natural, okay? It's not natural. It's being forced into this faster pace, okay? And some would even argue that our cells kind of have a biological end to them, meaning you can only work your cells that hard for so long before they start to experience massive oxidative stress and they start to self-implode, okay? They start to get damaged and destroyed, okay? There's a lot of talk in the skincare industry about people that have been using retinols long-term, why they always end up going for the facelifts and they always end up going for all the nips and tucks and constantly doing that is because of the rapid aging that it starts to contribute to. Okay. So I've talked to, not necessarily talked to, I've talked to people in the natural skin healing world where we've discussed these certain types of topics, but I know that people even in the aesthetic world have seen it as well. They're working on people's skin that have been using retinols and doing all of this stuff for years. And what they're finding is a lot of really undesirable things happening to their skin. Okay. So the long-term effects are definitely going to be there for a lot of people. And these long-term effects are not good. Okay. So do they make your skin healthier? How can they? You're creating a situation in your skin that is like having a chronic wound that the body now has to deal with all the time. Okay. If you're constantly putting chemical exfoliants on your skin, you're creating little tiny kind of like, they say, oh, it only dissolves the glue. Really? Only dissolves the glue? Well, what's happening is those chemicals can go down and penetrate below the stratum corneum and affect your healthy skin tissue, your healthy cells that are now being programmed to actually reproduce. So what's happening is they're reproducing at a rate that is not normal. It is not normal for your body. It is like being on crack. Okay. And I've talked about this. I've talked about this endlessly. Okay. So you may get the initial benefit that you like, but it doesn't mean it's actually a real benefit for your biology or for your actual health and the health of your skin. So when people are using retinols and people are using all of these chemical exfoliants and all of these chemicals or whatever, and they're saying they have a glow, my face is a lot fuller. Your face is fuller. Your face is inflamed. If your skin is more plump than it ever used to be, and it's not because you've just done a facial massage and increased the blood circulation and increased the fluid to the skin, it's because your skin is inflamed. That is not a sign of health. That is a sign of damage. Okay, damage. And unfortunately, people that work in the skincare world are so hell-bent on aesthetics and what it looks like aesthetically that they're not thinking about what's happening at the deep cellular level. And it's the same thing. If you've had a lot of sun damage and you go and you burn off the whole top layer of your skin, yeah, that sun damage is gone. But now what's happening is you've got all of these new fresh cells that have been forced to have to start, moving forward, right? Whereas normally they would have taken a lot longer to do that. And with face massage and using the right techniques and doing the right things, you can actually help your body heal some of that damage. But by basically burning it off or removing it, all you've done is removed the surface, okay? And now you're doing all of these things that can cause damage and inflammation to those deeper skin cells. So that's a real problem. And a lot of people don't look at it that way. They're just not looking at it that way, okay? And again, this whole idea of stimulating collagen production like it's a good thing, okay? The only reason these things are constantly stimulating collagen production is because that's part of the wound healing cycle. You're creating wounds to your skin. Do you really want to be doing that? Hey, maybe you do. But I don't, and I won't. And I don't promote it to people. I don't even bring it up with people. And of course, what I do as facial rejuvenation has nothing to do with products of any kind. So it has nothing to do with actual products. But when people do ask me, I tell them what I do and I tell them why I do it. And then I educate and inform them. And then people obviously make their own choices. And I have friends that do things that I personally would never do to my skin. One of my girlfriends, I had dinner with her a while ago and her face looked like she had a massive sunburn. And I was like, how did you get sunburned? She goes, oh, this isn't a sunburn. I had a chemical peel. And I didn't say anything. I was just like, okay, but you just burned your face. You just burned your face. Like, I'm struggling with this. To what, not have a few wrinkles? I'm not saying that you don't get the aesthetic thing that you're looking for. Okay? But is it making your skin healthier? Over time? That's not health. It's not health to cause massive inflammation and chronic wound repair. That's not health. That's skin damage. Okay? So we live in an upside down world. All right? You've got entire industries, the dermatology industry, the aesthetic industry, the anti-aging, which encompasses all of that, the beauty industries, telling people that they should be causing wounds to their skin so that they can look younger. Not to mention, a lot of these procedures are pretty risky. They're pretty risky. I don't know why anyone would risk it, to be honest. You can risk infections, scarring, creating cellular damage, oxidative stress, mitochondrial damage. You can actually make your situation worse. Some skin really, really bucks the system when you start going at it with really aggressive treatments. And it falls into the same narrative, is that in order to have what you want, you have to be aggressive. You know, you've got to take medications that are aggressive and dangerous. You've got to do all of this stuff that is aggressive in order to look younger. Okay. But looking younger in and of itself is mental illness. So people are doing these things because they can't cope with the fact that they're aging. They can't cope with the fact that their skin is changing. They can't cope with the fact that they're not going to look like they're 25 forever. That's a real problem. It's a societal problem. It's a mental problem. People are mentally fucked in the head. And this is where we're at. Can you imagine a 10-year-old or an 11-year-old or a 12-year-old being so scared of getting older because they look at baby pictures of themselves and go, but I was so cute. I want to be that cute again. You'll never fucking be that cute again. You'll never be that fucking cute again. That stage of your life is fucking over. Get the fuck over it, okay? And then you go from that prepubescent stage where sometimes kids are a little bit awkward. They're kind of like in that stage where they haven't like blossomed into like kind of where nature's like really showing off its stuff, right? Because once you get into that zone where you're like teenager, young adult, it's like this is kind of where nature is going to show where you fall here, right? You're going to look, you know, you're going to look like what you look like to attract the opposite sex so that you can bang and reproduce, okay? And I know that it's more than that. I know that it's love and it's all of this, but in the animal world, it's about reproduction, okay? Nature is making sure that you look kind of good so that people really want to mate with you and cause a little bit of reproduction, okay, to keep the human species going. But as you get older, nature isn't really so interested in you reproducing anymore and attracting a mate, okay, from that physical, biological program. I'm not talking about love. I'm not talking about love, and I'm not talking about any of those things. We all know they are important when you are a human, okay, because we are emotional creatures and we feel love and we feel emotions and we feel all of these things. I'm not talking about that. But what I'm talking about is at that younger age, we look like what we look like because it's part of nature's plan. It's like how the male peacock has those beautiful feathers so that it can attract a mate. You get my drift, right? So as we get older, a lot of us lose those beautiful peacock feathers. We lose that color. We lose that thing, right? That thing. We start to get older. We start to have wrinkles. We start to, we've got life that is etched itself in our skin. It's like the map of our life, right? The map of the world that we've seen, the map of the life that we've lived. And that's the way I look at it. I look at it as like, this is all of the miles that I have on me. And I have a lot of fucking miles on me. Now, granted, I'm not all wrinkled. Like, I'm not like this big wrinkly mess. But I'm aging. I'm 57 years old. I am not going to look like what I did when I was 30. I look like a baby at 30. I look at my pictures from when I was 30 and I'm like, I look 16. Like, what the fuck? Like, even my daughter has found pictures of me when she was little, when she was like 2-3 years old. And she's like, Mom. And I'm like, She's like, Mom. And I'm like, right. And she's like, I didn't mean it that way. She's like, you're still beautiful. And I'm like, I'm not offended.